What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about why I believe Clair Obscur Expedition 33 could be a Game of the Year contender. Now, look, I don't throw that around as willy-nilly as some people think I do. I really feel like I can isolate some games, first time I see them, sixth time I see them, whatever you want to say, and say, you know what? There's something very, very special about this game. This has the making of a Game of the Year type game, and I really can't shake that feeling with Clair Obscur Expedition 33, whether it's the visuals, like this is the first thing that you actually see, but just every element of this game really feels like if they deliver all of it, and that is a big if. Yet again, these are not like no names that are, I mean, it's a new studio, right? Like a new startup type thing, but these are veterans. These are people that have been around for a while. These are people that have a lot of respect for like the big JRPGs that you might know about, but also like they bring up Lost Odyssey every now and then. It's like, okay, these people know their stuff. They know some of the hidden gems of like the 360 era. They know, the bigger Final Fantasy games, even some of like, okay, fan favorite Final Fantasy games. They know their stuff. And they've even said like, instead of waiting for somebody else to make these games that you grew up loving, why not make them yourself? And I love that confidence, and I love that mindset, by the way. I feel like that's why most people should get into game development, is to make the games that they want to play. But that's just a little of the background, right? That does come up. It's like, okay, well, are they capable? And I feel like all the inspiration, where these people come from, what their background is, I feel like they got that checked off, right? Okay, then you go into the game. Well, I already mentioned the visual style, beautiful. I would also like to throw out right now, and this could change, but, the length. The length of this game has been talked about, 30, 40 hours. It's not going to be a 100-hour thing. They've talked about, like, no mini-map and trying to keep you, like, engrossed in the world and, like, kind of figuring stuff out for yourself, I guess, in that respect. I like that. I like what I'm hearing so far. And, even to the length. Now, this could change because they could be lying, or they could be purposely extending it, or, I guess, shortening the length of time, kind of just saying it before the game comes out. But, I've always talked about this, quality over quantity. You can have 100-hour JRPGs. In fact, there's been several really good JRPGs that kind of needed to be 50-plus hours long. But not all games need that. And especially for, again, kind of a startup type studio here, they wanted to do it this way. They wanted to start, I guess, small in that regard. And I have full respect to that. It almost, to me, makes it slightly easier because, like, okay, side quests can now be more impactful. The main stuff, that's going to maybe take up most of the game. The fights are going to feel more like orchestrated, like you need to do these fights, versus, a 100-hour game where a lot of the stuff could just kind of be padding or fluff. Again, that's me talking now. I mean, it can change when the game comes out. Maybe it needed to have been longer, when we play it, but maybe not. Maybe it's actually the perfect length. We'll find out in a little bit. I mentioned the story here and there, and I feel like the story and characters are things you can only say so much about now, right? Because you only really know right now a synopsis, right? Kind of like the general thing of, this kind of like plague type wipeout situation of people in different age groups, right? These expedition groups, and eventually it's going to wipe out everybody. And it's dark. That automatically sounds pretty dark, and I do like games that have a more serious tone, even in games that keep a little bit more like lightheartedness. I like the serious edge every now and then, right? Like when they need to bring it and they can bring it. This one seems to already start off like that, where it's like, yeah, these are like very big world problems. These are like legitimate issues that can very much affect people because it can literally take people out. And then, we know the cast, we know like the quality of the cast and how good the voice acting is. And, you can watch clips and, the trailers and whatnot and hear them talk. Again, only so much you can say, but that's kind of that vibe where it's like the story kind of pops, like when you first hear it or you see like the story trailer. It's like, yeah, that kind of stands out. Or, I'm not saying you need like these Hollywood actors for, but they have a mix of, people that have kind of been around for a while. They got like a Benjamin Starr type individual who's fantastic, but you got people that have done stuff before. You've also gone for kind of like grade A talent, but they seem very capable. So like, you can kind of spot again the potential there. And then of course there's the gameplay, kind of the last part of it, right? Really the thing you're going to be doing a lot in this game. And so, well, with a lot of games out there, when you do the gameplay for 80-90% of it, you need to make it, it's going to be repetitive to a degree, but it's also got to be fun and engaging. And, you know, turn-based, we've seen it before. It's either kind of your jam or it's not your jam. But, you know, obviously for a game like this, obviously adding in that extra element of the reactionary type stuff, right? Being able to, when an enemy is attacking you, press a button to be able to jump over an attack or parry an attack or outright block, right, where you're not going to take any damage, or, you know, basically always paying attention. When you're attacking the enemy, you can do something to kind of deal extra damage, and how that's going to kind of work with a cast of characters, cast of different weapons. Oh, you know, I mentioned visuals, and the visuals are phenomenal, but how about, okay, when we're talking about the gameplay, I mean, how about those menus? How about those freaking menus and just how everything looks? Look, we've been spoiled with like the Persona team and all that jazz, and just how incredible menus like UI can look, and a lot of games don't have that. But for a game like this, you look at how everything looks in this game. I mean, like literally a character screen, or, you know, when something pops up that tells you to attack, you can see that flare. I'm so excited about this game, and I just feel like every main element, right? Like the story, the characters, the gameplay. Those are kind of the main three, I think, for a game like this. I guess world, but world maybe be tied into like the characters and story. Everything kind of pops. Everything feels like if they can nail it, and that's a big if, right? I guess you can say that for any game, but it really does stand out. Again, I think if they can do it all, this is easily going to be a Game of the Year contender come the end of the year. So we'll see what happens, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.